everyone, and welcome to the Icehouse podcast. It's awesome to have you here listening to us as we talk to Andrew Young, the business owner and design manager of Parallax Limited. He's actually a Xero scholarship recipient for Owner Manager program, which is awesome. And we're looking forward to chatting about how he's found this year, 2020, his business journey and what they do. So thanks, Andrew, for being here. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for asking me. It was, felt quite privileged.
Awesome. Yeah, it's cool. It's always really cool hearing stories from a whole array of different businesses and different journeys. And like I was saying to you before, we press record. It's always nice to just have a lighthearted chat about, the journey and where you guys are now. So to kickstart that, the first question is, explain your business to our listeners and maybe just add in there how you fit into the mix.
So Parallax, we're a traffic management professional services company. So basically providing solutions for anyone who wants to do work on the roads. So we provide safe ways of doing that. So basically it's the signs and cones and things that you see out on the roads that irritate everybody. We're the ones who actually come up with the plans for that.
Awesome.
That's probably the simplest way to explain it. There's heaps that goes into it, but
there's a lot of logistics that would go into that. I'm currently thinking about my commute across Auckland City, and there is a lot of logistics that would go into something like that. So
there's a huge amount of things that happen, probably a lot more than what people quite realize when they're just driving through it. But I'm always a bit reticent telling people about what I do, because you always wind up with, oh, why did you do this? Or how did what
and real personal situational issues. Can you move these 3 cones so it's easier for me and stuff like that? I'm sure.
Why did you close my bus stop or my driveway? Well, I don't know. I don't think I did it, but
yeah, totally.
But
awesome.
So I guess in answer to your second question, or second part of that, is how I fit into the business is I'm one of 3 owners and one of 3 directors as well. And then we also, all 3 of us, have roles within the company, kind of depending on what we were really suited for. So my particular role, like as design manager, that fits me because I'm a bit OCD, very particular, and so I kind of look after a good portion of the team, like all our designers and consultants and
Great.
Things.
Cool. Awesome. So just using your skill sets and being in a role around that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and things that I never thought that I could do, and I never thought I could. Well, I never thought I'd be interested in managing people, but apparently I do actually quite enjoy it.
That's great. That's really cool. Awesome. Okay, when did you first hear of the Icehouse, and how long have you been involved?
The Icehouse, I actually heard about the Icehouse through my wife.
Cool.
She did a program called Be Leadership. I don't know if you've come across it before. But Andy Hamilton was a guest presenter there, and she got talking to him, and must have been talking about my business during that conversation, and thought that I should meet him, and so I wound up having lunch with him.
Awesome.
Some good discussion there, and so they were kind of, Icehouse has been on my radar for a little while, and then the opportunity came up to apply for the scholarship. We had actually looked at the OMP workshop previously, but we're like, oh wow, it's quite an outlay in cost.
It's a commitment for sure.
Yeah, it is a big commitment. So then having the Xero scholarship, applying for that and winning it, that awesome. Just kind of, it was like, that's awesome. I definitely can do it now.
Yeah, that's great. That's really cool. Just made it possible with a little bit of support there, eh?
Yeah, that's right. And it's certainly, like, having done it now, I'm like, man, my 2 fellow directors, Neil and Dave, I'm really keen for them to do it at some stage as well in the future.
Yeah, great idea. Cool. Yeah. Awesome. I love that. It's awesome that, the Icehouse and people within it, like Andy and things, are part of such a greater New Zealand, business network. And it's always nice when people get connected and opportunities happen through just conversations over lunch and that sort of thing. So it's really cool.
Yeah, it's amazing, eh? And we're still got a bit of involvement with the Icehouse. We had Liz Witherspoon.
Yeah.
She was one of the judges for our innovation challenge that we ran.
Ah, cool. Yeah, she was talking about that. Was that a
Yeah,
couple months ago, was it?
yeah, a couple of months ago, and it was really
Yeah.
cool. It was neat to have some other people with really different perspectives, and I think that's what the Icehouse kind of brings and connects people with is
Yeah,
different
totally.
perspectives and ideas and things.
Yeah, awesome. That's really cool. Okay, next question is, love you to sum up your owner manager program experience in, a few sentences or
Um,
however.
yeah, it was as it was it was a bit daunting, I think, at first. Like when I first
Yeah.
considered it, I was a bit like, geez, 24 other business owners here, and um, I think I have a little bit of that imposter syndrome. Like I hope they don't figure out that I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And it
Everyone
turns
was
out
probably in the same headspace, I
that's
think.
exactly like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly what it was. So I guess initially, like before I even went, I was like a little bit worried about how it was going to go, but
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, and connecting with those people, just hugely beneficial, and having Liz and Chris as the facilitators, and meeting Raywin, and then all the guest presenters and things. It was, I think, it was really practical as well. Like it's something that when you're actually in a business and you're trying to run it, having some great practical advice rather than a whole bunch of theory
Yeah,
is
great.
much, much more useful. So yeah, I found it really, really helpful, and
Awesome.
some
Yeah,
good
that's
connections out of it, and learned some great stuff.
yeah, cool connections as well is key. It was pretty amazing actually. A couple months ago, I went along to the first day of,
Oh yeah.
block one, like, they're meeting for the first time. And it was just amazing seeing people walk in, like you said, nervous, a little bit daunting, not knowing anyone, sort of been like, what is this? And then within like the first session, already having conversations, helping each other out and forming amazing connections. It was a real eye opener to me that, the value in it. It's really cool.
Yeah,
Um, mm,
it's really cool. Yeah, and it gave me, I feel like it gave me some good confidence, myself, that maybe I do know what I'm talking about, and that my instincts might be right,
awesome.
which is really neat, because it's when you've got two other directors, sometimes it can be it can be a little bit daunting just with them,
Mm,
trying to get your point across and stuff. So I found it really helpful.
awesome. That's
So,
great. That's great.
yeah.
Following from that, are there any changes that you implemented into your business and lifestyle since doing the owner manager program?
Yeah, oh, for sure. I think there's a lot of like little things that I couldn't even point to exactly, but we definitely got a new accountant. Um,
Yeah, awesome. Cool.
um, but yeah, I was just trying to think about that earlier.
And then am I right in thinking your new accountant is also someone through the Icehouse network? I may have caught that.
Yeah, he sits
Yeah.
in your, like, they've got an office there. So I did it with Greg, and he in no way did he ever kind of try and push his own business or anything, but just how competent he was. Like I spent a lot of time with him, and as he's different to most accountants, that's for sure.
Yeah,
um,
that's great.
and I came out of it, and I said to the guys, I was like, look, you need to meet this guy Greg, and we need to find a way to work with him in the future, because he's brilliant, and he's got some really interesting, he's not afraid to give opinions and things.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a really big one. But
Oh, that's great. We always love when we see, people that have gone on programs or our alumni and such doing business together, and actually really supporting each other. That's really cool.
yeah, and
That
they've
came
been
out
really
of it.
helpful. Like we've been working with them quite a bit just this whole year, really, in
Cool.
different ways. And yeah, so I mean, that was a really tangible thing that came out of it. But I think there's a lot of other intangible things that just get me thinking, and they put me in touch with someone, or something comes up at work,
Yeah.
and we're talking about a new strategy or something, and I'm like, oh, I know somebody who can help with that.
Awesome.
um, and it could be one of the guest presenters, or it could be one of the people that I've one of the fellow alumni. Yeah, so there's
Yeah,
lots of,
great.
but yeah, huge amount of practical advice.
Awesome. Is there
Yeah.
anything from a lifestyle perspective that you ended up implementing, or was it more business based for you?
It was a bit of everything, really. I bought a new alarm clock because we were talking about it's a very small thing, but we were talking about getting better sleep
Yeah.
uh, and that kind of thing. And
Did
I
you get the one that is a light and it like it makes
yeah,
the
it can
room?
do that. Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
cool.
And it was actually the color of the light. My old one was like bright green, and it used to keep me awake at night. I realized, and so
Oh, wow.
it was a bit different. And
Yeah, good on you.
I
That's
mean,
cool.
it's a real minor thing, but there was some really cool stuff in there, and I think a bit more awareness of around resilience and that kind of thing. It was a good focus in there, and it just gets you thinking a bit more. The
Yeah,
breathing exercises that we did, I definitely go
yeah,
back to those every so often.
yeah.
Yeah, there's probably too many things to list, and I can't even. Um, what's like they've almost become just part of it, and I can't even put my finger on exactly where they came from. But yeah,
Yeah.
it did have a huge impact.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think what you said earlier about how, there was some content in there, but also really practical tools that makes it really easy for you to implement into your everyday life.
Yeah,
Like the breathing, that
yeah.
sort of stuff is really awesome. So that's cool. Okay, so with the year it's been, 2020, I'm going to use the P word here and say, how has your business pivoted during this year and with COVID and all that?
Yeah, well, as we were talking about, it's we've been the last of the OMP workshops just before that all kind of
Yeah,
hit.
OMP 48 finished
Yeah,
in
that
March. Crazy.
it was, yeah, we ended um, our last session or our last block five, like where we went had the nice dinner and all the partners came and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah.
That was the weekend before they announced us going into lockdown.
Wow, that is crazy.
Yeah, I remember being on the phone a good part of that weekend with my fellow directors about what we were going to do, and like I remember saying we need to take this seriously. Like things
Yeah,
are going to go crazy,
yeah.
and yeah, we that Monday we were planning for it because we actually have a lot of staff in the Philippines. Uh,
Yeah, that's interesting because that's two sort of COVID dynamics, really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, two very different things. So we in New Zealand we all work from home anyway, so it wasn't a
Oh,
huge
yeah.
change. We were like perfectly suited for going into lockdown, basically. Uh,
Yeah.
but our staff in the Philippines, we got probably at the time there was 30, 35 of them, and
Wow.
they
Wow.
all
Big
work in an
team.
office normally, and we had to get every single one of them and their computers back to their houses, and internet connected in some of their houses
Yeah.
because some of them didn't have like normal internet and everything in one day. Um,
Wow.
yeah, we planned on the Monday for it, and we thought, oh, we've probably got about a week of lead time here. And then that Monday night at about 10:30 at night, we got the message that the Philippines was going into lockdown the very next day. So we were like,
Wow. It
yeah, it's
just
like,
happened so quickly, at that time in March. It was just the next thing to the next thing to the next thing, just all within days. Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
And I'd only just got back into the country. I'd been in the States on our 10th wedding anniversary
Oh,
just
you're probably
prior to
glad you
that.
got that in just in
Yeah,
time.
it'll be the last time for a while, I think, that we'll be going anywhere
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that. So yeah, and that was quite a few of our staff because I had family and friends coming. We had about 20 of us over there with us, and
Mm,
so there was 5 of us from the team
awesome.
over in the States, and so it all kind of got back, but we were going into quarantine like ourselves, or
Yeah, yeah. It was that
and so
close.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was really crazy.
Yeah.
And that was just the start of it. And so, yeah, as far as pivoting goes, we've definitely had to adapt. We had to come up with plans as to what we were going to do. We engaged with a lot of our clients and stakeholders and things
Yeah.
really early on. As soon as we kind of knew what was happening and going into
Awesome.
level 3 and level 4, we were on the phone to them. Hey, what can we do to help you guys?
Great.
What's
Yeah.
your plans? And a lot of those companies didn't know what they were doing. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
some did, and of course it helps us because then we can plan for whether we're going to have a quieter time or not. But there was some cool stuff. We do a lot of training, like industry training for NZTA,
Yeah.
And traditionally that's all done like in person. But they announced with the going into level 4 that we could do online trainings.
Ah, wow.
We
Yeah.
developed a whole online like delivery system and everything. And I think we were probably one of the first in our industry to actually start delivering that training. Of
Wow.
course, nobody wanted to spend any money on
Yeah.
training. Nobody knew what was going to happen, so it was great to have it. So we actually wound up offering it for free for
Yeah. Good on you.
of level 4, and it was really cool. It was nice. Like we got NZTA on board, so their component of it was free as well. And
Brilliant.
got a whole lot of people, which was cool. It was nice to be able to do something like that.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great pivot. Yeah, that's
Yeah, just
especially because I'm guessing your actual, core work would actually, what's the word? Essential. Was it essential services or no?
it was a weird one. We were kind of essential, but kind of like it depended on which clients of ours
Yeah,
really needed to do work. So if they needed to do work, then we could
stepped
do it.
in. Yeah,
But a lot of companies just made the decision they're just going to close their door. They didn't even argue whether they were going to be essential or not. I
yeah,
would have been a bit different. I would have fought tooth and nail to be considered
yeah,
essential.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, it's their companies and they can do what they want, and
Of
I don't know all
course.
the
So
details.
you're a
So
bit in the hands of, their decision around
yeah, a little
that
bit.
work. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, but
Okay, that's interesting.
yeah.
Sort of finishing off it, and a little bit 2 questions in one. So answer how you wish. But have you had any learnings that you've taken out of 2020? And with that, is there any advice that you would tell an owner manager, of a small, medium-sized business in New Zealand? Any key advice that springs to mind?
Um, I think the key is to be flexible and adaptable.
Yeah,
Just
great.
because you've done something for the last 10 years the same way doesn't mean that it will always be the right way. So
Yeah.
it's, I think that's where you see some of these businesses are not doing so well, is because they can't adapt, and maybe sometimes they're too big to adapt quickly. But yeah, that's a pretty big one from me. But
Yeah.
also taking the opportunities, or seeing the opportunities even in a really awful situation, trying to see the positive in it. I know it can be really hard, and we've been really lucky, I think, or yeah, I don't know if it's luck or not, to be honest, but like being able to try and see the positive and go, okay, well, this is not a great situation, but what can we do? Like, what's
Yeah.
the learning outcome here, or what can we do?
Yeah, that's great. Being
Yeah.
able to adapt and adjust and go, wow, I think lots of businesses went, this is a great opportunity to relook at how we do things, and does it need to look like this going forward,
Yeah.
and adjusting if they
Yeah.
needed to, which is
Yeah.
cool.
I think, yeah, a lot of businesses learned that they didn't have to have staff at home, sorry, in an office for them to
Yeah,
actually be able to do their work.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how that plays out in the future.
yeah. Like, yeah, the different levels of efficiency and what the assumptions were, and what's actually taken place. I've heard so many businesses say that, especially certain departments in their team are very efficient, working at home and that sort of stuff. So like you said, it will be interesting to see how it plays out long term,
Yeah,
how
yeah,
business working changes. Yeah.
yeah. But and as far as my kind of takeaways for the year, it's been such a crazy year. I feel like this year, but maybe not through all the COVID stuff, but this year for me has been like one of a lot of growth and change, and kind of learning a bit more about myself as well, like, and how I work and operate and all that. So I know it's been a funny old year, but for me personally, it's had some really interesting things, some really good points,
Yeah.
as well as some, really awful things going on for the world in general. So
Yeah.
it's been a mixed bag, that's for sure.
It has been a mixed bag, but that's cool to hear that through it all, you've seen some real, amazing personal growth and got lots out of it, which is cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we also, sorry, just thinking some more. I think it's been an opportunity for us as a company to really demonstrate our value of our staff. Like we're a
Mm.
professional services company, and so we sell people's time. And so the staff are the most important thing. And I think this has been a year to remind ourselves of that and really demonstrate that we do care. So
Awesome.
I won't swear. I was going to say something else, but I won't. It's
Have to beep it out.
but yeah, I think it's been a good opportunity to see that and demonstrate to the staff that we do care.
Great. Yeah, that's cool. And it's actually been a theme that's come across a lot of our podcasts is what, like just the importance of team culture and, building up your staff because they are representing the business and just how important that is and how it's really shone through the COVID season. Yeah. And it seems from the outside that you guys have a great team culture and a very big team. And so it's
big.
So it's pretty amazing to still keep that culture strong with a big team.
Yeah, and I think we've been talking about it a bit recently for various reasons, but I think it's just about actually treating people how you would want to be treated yourself. Like a couple of people have said to me recently, like, "Oh, I really love like working for the company, and you guys just care." And it's like, well, yeah, but we actually just care about people. We don't. It's not all about numbers and things like that. It's about people.
Yeah, that's awesome. Back to the basics. Treat others how you want to be treated, right?
Exactly. Like not being a jerk to people. Essentially.
Yeah, totally. Awesome.
I can see how it could be easy to kind of forget that sometimes and get caught up in things, particularly if the business is not going well. But yeah, that seems to be the thing, is just treat people like you'd want to be treated yourself.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. Thank you so much, Andrew, for your time. I really do appreciate it. And it's a big company. Like we've said, lots of people in two sides of the world, which is really a massive feat. So well done and congrats on a great year and getting through it. And coming out the other side stronger. So congrats and thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Yeah, well, thank you, and I'm really glad to see the Icehouse is doing well as well, and still with us, which is really it's really important, I think.
Awesome. Yeah, totally. I'm glad we're here too. It's good. Anyway, we'll wrap it up there. But thank you so much, Andrew. Appreciate it.
Thank you.